A very warm good morning to dear children of class 6, and I welcome you all for today's zoology class. So in this class, what are we going to study? We are going to study a new lesson which is chapter 5 in your textbook, and the name of the lesson is respiratory system. So what is the name of the lesson? Respiratory system. So what do you know about respiration? Usually when I teach children, many children answer as breathing. I take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. That is not respiration. That is called as breathing. Okay. So what is respiration or respiratory system then? We learn in detail in this lesson. So let's get started. So before learning about the respiratory system and everything all, let us know the definition for respiration. What is respiration? I told you already, respiration is not breathing, but it is a process where glucose is broken down into energy. So what you get out of respiration? Because of respiration in your body, the positive aspect or positive product what you get is energy. Of course, you also get waste products, but the advantage to your body is you get energy. Okay. So, what did I tell you? It is a process in your body where glucose is broken down and the product or the end output what you get is will be energy. Why I have written energy in the form of ATP? What is this ATP? ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate, ATP. What is this? Obviously, if you see, you can sense that it is a chemical. So glucose is broken down and the chemical called as adenosine triphosphate is produced in your body. This chemical is responsible for energy in your body. If you have so many ATP molecules in your body, then you are so energetic. Your body is filled with energy, you can assume. Okay, so energy you cannot see, but still it exists in the form of a chemical called as ATP. Whenever this ATP is broken down, it will release energy to your body. So respiration is a process where glucose is broken down into energy in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Clear? Then what we'll see? The next topic is, where is this happening? I tell you, no, glucose is broken down. You eat so much of glucose, and do not imagine that this is happening in your intestine, because that will be in digestive system. So whatever is happening in your intestine and stomach, no, that all comes under digestion. Of course, the glucose is also involved in digestion. When you eat glucose, it is also digested in your stomach and in your intestine. But in this respiration process where this is happening, glucose is broken down to energy, I told you, no, this is not happening in your stomach or this is not happening in your intestine. This happens inside your body cells. Your body is fully made up of cells, no? Inside the cells, the glucose is broken down into energy. So every body cell is involved in this respiration process. Where exactly? You must have studied about the structure of a cell, no? A cell will have cytoplasm inside. If this is a cell, in all the pictures, or even if you have drawn in your lower grades, you will have many dots like this inside a cell. If there is a cell, there will be a nucleus. There will be many dots inside, and these dots are cytoplasm. So in the cytoplasm, you have a structure called as mitochondria. What is it? A structure called as mitochondria. Usually the structure of mitochondria is like this. Inside the cell, you will have a structure called as mitochondria. You will be learning in your higher grades. This is present inside the cytoplasm, and exactly in this mitochondria only the respiration process is happening. So where respiration happens, I told you, it happens inside the cell, no? The cell has cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm you have mitochondria, and exactly in the mitochondria of the cell only respiration is happening. You need not get confused about this. You will learn in detail in your higher grades. Just know this word and understand the term that mitochondria is present inside the cell. Okay, you should not think where it is now. That's why I gave this explanation. You need not worry much about this concept because you will be learning in your higher grades. So you know now that where it is present, and then I told you a positive aspect is production of energy. Out of this respiration process, there is also a negative aspect, that is all the glucose are not converted into energy, some are converted into waste products. What waste products are? Carbon dioxide and water is the waste product of respiration. So from respiration, ATP is produced as well as some waste products such as carbon dioxide and water is also produced out of excretion. Okay, how it is happening, how the process of respiration happens, what will convert glucose into energy or waste product? The enzymes of your body undergoes enzymatic reactions, and because of these reactions only the glucose is converted into either energy or into a waste product. So how this respiration happens? Enzymatic reactions are responsible for this process of respiration. That concept also you should keep in mind. So this is the introductory part of respiration. Okay, this respiration process, that is the breaking down of glucose, may be of two types. Okay, one is called aerobic respiration and the other is called as anaerobic respiration. So what are the two types of respiration? Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Generally the term aerobic refers to presence of oxygen. Aerobic means oxygen is involved, O2, right? You must have studied in chemistry. Anaerobic respiration means oxygen is not involved. So you know, in aerobic, in whatever respiration itself means that glucose is broken down. Here also glucose is broken down, but in the presence of oxygen. Here also glucose is broken down, but in the absence of oxygen. What difference it makes? In the presence of oxygen, more and more energy is produced, but in the absence of oxygen, very less. Of course energy is produced because it is a product of respiration, but the amount of energy produced will be very less if oxygen is not involved. Okay, and also the end products are different. When oxygen is involved, the end product is something different, and when oxygen is not involved, the end product is going to be something else. So let's see what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. I have given some explanation already. In addition, you will learn some points. So it is the breakdown of glucose with the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic respiration is the breakdown of glucose in the absence of oxygen. There is no oxygen involved. Okay. Then what is the next one? I told you different products are formed. No? Here glucose plus oxygen, it is written in the form of equation. Glucose plus oxygen, because oxygen is involved, will give you carbon dioxide, water and energy, more amount of energy. I told you already, right? It gives you more energy because oxygen is involved. In this case, glucose, there is no oxygen, will give end products lactic acid and energy, and this energy is very less. Little amount of energy is produced. Here the energy is more, increased energy. You have here, you have very much low amount of energy. Okay, so this is about the products of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so where it happens? So this you have to remember, lactic acid. I will tell you some special thing about this lactic acid. Where this happens, I told you already in the first slide. Where respiration happens, it happens inside the mitochondria, which is present in the cytoplasm of the cells. So generally you just remember where it is happening. It is happening inside the cells. Okay. Where can you find this anaerobic respiration? It is especially found in the muscles. Say for example, if you are playing so much on some day alone, you are going out and running so much, okay. Daily you sit inside your house and watch TV and play with tab, right? That is what most of you are with mobile phone. You are spending your time. Say suppose if you go out and play so much on some day, what will happen the next day? Your legs will pain, right? Your legs will ache. Why? Because when your muscle is working out so much, suddenly this glucose will be broken down into lactic acid. Every cell in your body will undergo respiration, right? So the body cells, your leg muscles also will undergo respiration, and it will produce lactic acid. Why it undergoes this anaerobic respiration? Why the muscles is not undergoing this aerobic respiration in the presence of oxygen? Because when you use the muscles or your some body part so much, no, there will be shortage of oxygen in that place. Do you get me? What did I tell you? Suppose if you are using some of your body part more on some day alone exceptionally, then there is no oxygen or there is less oxygen in that area. So the body will decide to undergo anaerobic respiration, but it will not undergo aerobic respiration. So when it undergoes anaerobic respiration, it will produce an end product called as lactic acid, right? So if there is lactic acid in the muscles, listen carefully, if there is lactic acid in the muscles, then the muscles will give you pain. The presence of lactic acid will cause pain in that place, whichever place you stay in. No, if it is your leg, it will ache or pain so much, and after 2 days it will become normal, right? You will not have the pain. Why? Because slowly the lactic acid is removed from your body, then you will not have pain in your body. So apart from what is that? Okay, in human cells you also have anaerobic respiration in certain organisms like bacteria and yeast. So bacteria and yeast can also undergo anaerobic respiration. Okay, so that is all about the types of respiration, that is aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Next we will learn about the parts of the respiratory system. Okay, the parts of the respiratory system. Let us all label. So the respiratory system starts with the nose. So where is the nose? So this is the nose, right? So it starts with nose. Then what all parts you have? You have a part called as pharynx. Okay, what is the next part? Pharynx. What is this pharynx? It is a junction where the nose and the food pipe. See, there is some common tube in your body, okay? There is a common tube in your body through which the food will pass as well as the air will pass. What is the entry point of air? Nose is the entry point. So air will enter through your nose, air enters through the nose, and through the mouth what is happening? Food enters through the mouth, right? So air enters and food enters, and the junction, no, the common tube where even air can pass and food can pass, both which can pass into a common tube, and that tube is called the pharynx. Okay, then after the pharynx you have some bone like structure, no? Can you see? Some bones are present like this. Until this area it is like skinny region, and a strong region you have, and this is called as trachea. So what all we have studied? We have studied nose, pharynx, which is a common pipe for food and air, and then the cartilaginous or the bony pipe called as trachea. See, this trachea is divided into two. Can you see two branches? So the trachea is like this, and it is divided into two branches at some point, and these two branches are called as bronchi. Bronchi. One is called bronchus. Since two are there, you call it as bronchi. Where is the bronchi here? It is here. Can you see? This trachea is divided into two bronchi, and then you have some more branches, right? like this. Can you see branches? And these branches are called as bronchioles. So what all we have studied? The parts of respiration or respiratory system: nose, pharynx, trachea, bronchi, and further the bronchi are divided or branched into bronchioles. So all these names you should memorize. Okay, so these are the parts of the respiratory system. So about all these parts you will learn in this lesson, but for today's class you are going to learn only the first two parts. Okay, the rest of the parts you will be learning in your next zoology class. So the first part was nose, right? So all of us have nose and we know very well about nose. Anyway, some description is given. You can know some more concepts about nose which you don't know. Okay, so the opening in your nose is called as nostril. What do you call? You don't call by anything, no? Just you say a hole or something. The technical term for the hole in the nose is called as nostril. You have hole, no? This hole is called as nostril. Okay, the hole in your or the opening in your nose is called the nostril. What else you have? You have chambers, no? Nasal chamber. Usually the meaning for chamber is some partition. If a big room in your maybe browsing centers all, no? In net centers, net cafe all, if you go, one big room will have many partition, like small chambers. They call it as a chamber, which means a partition. If something is divided into small units, you call it as chamber. Similarly, your nose is divided into two chambers, like two separate rooms you have, no? So they are called as nasal chambers. So this is one nasal chamber and this is another nasal chamber. May use some other color. So this is one nasal chamber and this is one nasal chamber, and this is the nostril. The hole or opening is the nostril. And what else you have? You have hair inside the nose, no? Like small hairs you will have inside the nose, and it will act like a filter. The hair inside your nose acts as a filter. What all it filters? It will filter the dust from the air you breathe. Suppose if you have dust particles all, it is getting filtered in through the hair in your nose, and so it cannot pass into your respiratory tract. Okay. Also you have a sticky substance called as mucus. The watery substance present inside your nose is technically called as mucus. What is it called? It is called as mucus. It is a secretion which your nose produces, and the use of mucus is, see, the mucus also has some use. There are two uses actually. One is it will trap the germs. Okay, suppose if the air you are breathing has germs, this mucus can trap the germs, and when you sneeze out or when you expel the mucus out, it will also go away. It will not enter into your body. And also the mucus, similar to the hairs, it can trap the dust particles. Suppose if you are breathing some air which is filled of dust, the mucus will trap the dust. So the mucus has two functions. One is it can trap the germs. The second one is it can trap the dust particles in the air. So this is about the nose. So the next part is pharynx. I told you already, pharynx is a common tube through which both air can pass as well as the food can pass, right? So where is the pharynx in this picture? It is a common passage for air and food. And where is it located? It is in the front of the trachea. So this is for air and this is for mouth, right? So this region is the pharynx. So this is the pharynx. Through nose, air will pass, through mouth, food will pass, and the common pipe-like structure is the pharynx. Okay, where it is located? It is in front of the trachea. Which is the trachea? This is the trachea. So it is above or front of the trachea. And also there is a small skin in the pharynx. It is called epiglottis. Okay, and also it is at the back of the esophagus. What is this trachea and esophagus? Trachea is the windpipe. Can you see this? This is trachea. So this is trachea, the dark brown color region, no? That is trachea. And where is the esophagus? This is the esophagus. Can you see a white tube here? So this is the esophagus. So this pharynx is, what is the position? It is in front of trachea and it is at the back of the esophagus. Since this is a 2D structure for you, it is not clearly seen, but just keep in mind always the pharynx is in front of trachea and it is at the back of esophagus. So this is the position where the pharynx is located. Then there is a skin called as epiglottis, a small flap called as epiglottis. Flap is nothing but a skin which is slightly harder in nature, okay, a small skin like structure. The function of epiglottis or flap is to close the windpipe whenever you are swallowing. I told you pharynx is a common pipe through which the air you breathe will enter as well as the food you eat will enter. Now after the air enters the pharynx, it will go to the trachea, and after the food enters the pharynx, it will go to the food pipe or your digestive system, okay. But I told you it is a common tube for both air and food, no. So whenever you are eating, whenever you are swallowing something, the epiglottis, I told you it is a small skin, no? This epiglottis will close the windpipe. So whenever you are swallowing, the air will not enter through the pharynx, okay. You can even test, just swallow like this, you cannot breathe at that time, okay. Only one at a time you can do, because the epiglottis will block the windpipe from the air entering inside, okay. So this is about the pharynx region in your respiratory tract. So one more part we will study in today's class, and the rest of the parts of the respiratory system we will be learning in the next class. So the next part is trachea. So where is the trachea here? This is the trachea, okay. This is the trachea. What is the speciality about trachea? Where it is located? See, can you, if you touch itself, you can feel some bony structure. It is like some bones you can feel here, no. This is the trachea. It is in the lower part of your neck. Down the neck you can find the trachea, and above the trachea you have a structure called as voice box or a larynx. Where is it? So this is the voice box or larynx. So where is the trachea? This is the trachea, and this is the voice box or larynx, okay. So this voice box, the term itself suggests that it is responsible for voice production, okay. The voice, when we speak we get some noise, no, that voice is because of, the sound is because of the vocal cord present in the larynx. So what do you know about the trachea? Above the trachea there is, above this trachea there is voice box or larynx, and they have something called as vocal cords. What is it? Vocal cord. And this vocal cord is responsible for sound formation, okay. What else? Okay. Trachea connects the larynx with the bronchus. What is larynx? This is larynx, right? Where is the bronchus? I told you, when a trachea is divided, So when a trachea is divided into two branches, these branches are called as bronchi. So trachea is divided into two branches and each one is called the bronchus, and this is the trachea. Okay, so what is given? Trachea is something which connects the larynx with the bronchus. Trachea connects larynx with the bronchus. These two are bronchus, right? Or plural, you can call it as bronchi. So trachea connects larynx with bronchi, that is what is given. And then the walls of the trachea has cartilaginous rings. So you can touch your neck and sense that it is not like a smooth pipe. It doesn't appear like a smooth pipe. It is not like this, but it is like this structure you can sense. Can you sense? Small bone like structures you have. That bone is called as cartilaginous rings. Why it is called as rings? Because it doesn't exist as a single bone. You can sense carefully, if you touch and see, you can sense some C-shaped bones like this. Like this you will have bones. That is why it is called C-shaped cartilaginous rings. It is in the form of rings, so it is called as cartilaginous rings. What is the function of this? It supports and prevents collapse of your trachea. It is stiff, no? Is it very loose? No, it is stiff. The function of these bones is it keeps them, it prevents them from collapsing, and also it allows the air to enter freely into the lungs. Where will be your lungs? Lungs will be here. Here you will have lungs on both sides. So this trachea will help the air what you breathe to enter into the lungs. So this is all about trachea. The remaining parts of the digestive system we will learn in the next class. Only 3 we have studied, right? So all the rest of the parts of the digestive system we will be learning in the next class. Okay. Okay. Then for today's homework, in page number 69, there are 4 questions. Question number 1 to 4 you will answer, and you can send me to my WhatsApp number. And also what you are going to do is, you read these pages from your textbook. You are going to read whatever I have taught you today. Okay, when you read, when you have the habit of reading, it is very good for you. You gain the real knowledge. Okay, and also you will never forget for years together. Whenever the teacher teaches a lesson, when you read it immediately, you will not forget for years together. So please read the portion what I have taught you today. So that is all for today's class. Until I meet you in your next class, you all take care and bye bye.